How often do you give yourself a reward? Today's short thoughts and tips is essentially about remembering to be nice to ourselves, acknowledging our efforts, and rewarding those efforts regularly. As usual, there'll be some bite-sized neuroscience because I find understanding the workings of the brain really helps keep us on track with making consistent positive changes. And that's what I help people do. As a solution-focused hypnotherapist, I help clients come up with their own solutions to make their positive changes happen. And I like to share interesting ideas in these bite-sized thoughts and tips format. So hopefully more people can benefit than I can reach in my one-to-one sessions. In fact, the reason I want to raise this topic of self-rewarding today is because it's come up a few times in my practice recently, and it's one that's close to my heart. You can probably tell from my accent I'm British. What's less obvious is that I've lived extensively in a number of cultures from the Middle East to South America. I studied anthropology, so culture has always been a big interest of mine, and now living in the Netherlands, I tend to work a lot with expat clients from the world over. So I get to observe how culture can structure our thinking. And why all this talk about culture when the topic is self-rewarding? Well, because in some cultures or family cultures, this idea of rewarding yourself is not favorably looked upon. It can be seen as selfish, self-centered, arrogant, too individualistic, or frivolous. And if you grew up with this sort of an environment and develop negative associations, be they conscious or subconscious, then rewarding yourself may not be your go-to strategy. Now, for those of us with an aversion to self-rewarding, where it's not an innate behavior, it's perhaps useful to know that the brain has a natural built-in reward system and it's being used all the time. So you're using it all the time, whether you know it or not. Everything you do is being evaluated by your brain and it's being given a pleasure value. The things you enjoy and you get feel-good neurotransmitters for, and the things you don't, you get less. Your brain remembers what made you feel good, so next time you come to do it, you feel more motivated to do those things that gave you more feel-good neurotransmitters, those natural rewards, and you feel less motivated to do those things that you don't enjoy. What's also interesting for us to know is that, in fact, just looking forward to those things that you enjoy produces motivation to move yourself towards those things, even before receiving the reward. And as this process is already happening in all healthy brains, it seems logical to make clever use of it. So how do you make use of it? Well, in a nutshell, it's rewarding yourself. And what might this self-reward look like? Well, it can be as simple as promising yourself you can have or do something after you've done that thing you're not so motivated to do. Or you can even have or do something you like whilst you're doing that thing that you're less motivated to do. For example, exercise or clean your place whilst you're watching that film or series that ordinarily would feel a bit guilty taking the time to watch. And what's even better is if you can repeat this association and say, every evening I exercise for half an hour whilst I watch the episode of what have you. These are perfectly innocent rewards, and they help you make what you want happen using principles that come from the understanding that our brains are wired for reward. But even if occasionally the self-reward is a little self-centered, it may be what's necessary to address the balance. If you're someone who's never looking after your own needs, not having that balance is like trying to put on other people's oxygen masks on before your own in an airplane. It's worth remembering that it's going to be much better for you to look after your basic needs, get your own mask on, then by all means go and help others. But learn to put your own mask on first. So in conclusion, rewarding ourselves is important for several psychological and motivational reasons. It plays an important role in maintaining our overall well-being, boosting productivity, strengthening good habits, and enhancing our self-esteem. So next time you feel a bit funny about the idea of rewarding yourself, think of the value you bring to yourself and to the world around you by being more motivated, more productive, and generally more uplifted and more uplifting to be around because you feel good within yourself. After listening to this, I hope you'll feel good about putting your own oxygen mask on, planning those little feel-good self-rewards into your day-to-day reality. And there'll be more bite-sized thoughts and tips soon. Until then, take care of yourself. And if you would like some more support with the benefit of hypnosis, you can just book yourself in for a video consultation.